So October is officially here, Halloween's right around the corner, and it got me thinking, what's a movie you can throw on in the background that just feels like Halloween? You know what I mean? When you're in that mood, you want that spooky vibe, you want to throw something on that just feels like a haunted house. And I think I came up with the perfect answer to it. So what if there was a movie that came out from the producers of Barbarian a couple of years ago? Feels like nobody knows about it. There was no marketing for it. It gets no love at all, but it was one of my favorite films of the past couple of years. And there's two types of people who have probably seen this thing. Either the people like me, they're trying to put people onto it. They think it's a hidden gem. They loved it. And then other people who just have no idea what it is. And they're saying, what the fuck is that? The movie I want to talk about is called Cobweb. Now, us horror fans, we delve through the dumps to find any type of hidden gem. We'll watch 10 duds to find that one movie we can't stop talking about. This was the movie of the past couple of years I had no expectations for. I turned this thing on, thought it was going to be a run-of-the-mill generic haunted house film. I was absolutely stunned with how much fun I had with this movie, so let's talk about it. This is my review for Cobweb.
This is an old house. There's bound to be bumps in the night.
So what makes Cobweb so unique is it's another one of those films that feels very familiar but also very fresh, because it's taking a movie we've seen 100 times, a haunted house film, but putting a bunch of spins on it that I just think are a lot of fun. There's Antony Starr, Lizzy Caplan. If you're unfamiliar with them, Antony Starr has basically made a name at this point as playing Homelander in The Boys. So you get to see him if you're a fan of him in a horror film. I wish he would do more. I think he's great in this film. But what the film's about is it follows this couple and they have a son. And the son starts hearing noises in his wall. It's a typical Halloween tale. He tries to warn his parents and he keeps telling them he can't sleep. Somebody's knocking on his wall trying to talk to him. And you have this haunted house thriller where the parents don't necessarily believe him. And it's one of those films that is so fun because they keep taking what you think is going to happen and diverting it. And this is one of those films that has a lot of twists, a lot of changes in it. And they're twists that add on top of each other. So you get the movie going, then about 20 minutes in, something will happen and it will change the trajectory of the film by a lot. And then it keeps doing that and it keeps adding on to itself. So you have a very layered mystery and a film that just gets more fun and more ridiculous as it goes. I just have a blast whenever I watch this film. Going back to what I said in the intro, the major thing that makes this film stand out is it is just oozing Halloween. The movie takes place on Halloween, fall atmosphere, pumpkins all around, but it does take place in a house for the most part. It's a haunted house mystery to its core, but they're very dedicated to getting that atmosphere in the house right and keeping that tone. Very blue, darkly lit, shadows everywhere, but the way they choose to light the rooms, genius. You have lighting from the ceiling through the windows, just vague lighting, highlighting certain parts of the room, almost to make a certain corner dark, another one lit. Just makes you feel very eerie, spooky vibes when you're in this house. I thought the cinematography, the picture of this film, beautiful, right up my alley. I absolutely loved the way this film is shot. You can tell whoever was behind the stylistic choices I just talked about is very passionate about scary movies, because this movie attempts to do things that a lot of other movies have done, just not nearly as successful. The way it subtly diverts your attention from one corner of the room to the next, keeps you on edge, keeps that eerie tension in the room, so it is an unsettling movie. Nothing that's going to give you total nightmares as an adult, but it is unsettling and tense throughout. I think this movie has some genuinely awesome scares. I would say there's about 5 or so scenes in this film that are genuinely scary, but there's one scene in particular, and I often point out in reviews how dream sequences are done so poorly. It's so corny and cliche. They're just so overdone these days, but it takes place with this kid in his bed, and this scene is just absolutely terrifying. If you've seen it, you'll know the one I'm talking about. It's shot so well. It's technically so well done. It makes you feel like this is real. It is just the best scene of the film, in my opinion. Definitely one of my favorite scenes of the past 5 years, if not decade. I also need to go back to the fact Antony Starr is in this. Most people know him as Homelander now. I loved him from Banshee as Sheriff Hood. If you know the guy, phenomenal actor. I understand why he does TV shows. I wish he'd do more movies, because in this movie, he plays this dad, very unsettling, very weird. I just think the guy steals all the screen time and everything he's in. So if you're a fan of Antony Starr, another reason to watch this movie, because this is really the only movie I can think of where he has a major role, especially in a horror film. So whenever I get to see that combination, I'm going to sign up for it. Once again, this is a movie that's basically 3 movies in one. So it starts off and you think it's going to be one thing, then it changes up radically by the middle. Then what you think it's going to be at the middle, it changes up completely by the end. And a lot of movies struggle with this because whenever you introduce so many changes and twists, it kind of undermines whatever you got earlier. This is not the case with this film. This is one of the movies where not only does it work, but it elevates everything you saw prior. Because as it's unfolding and you're learning why things are happening, it all starts to make a lot more sense, especially when they go back and show you and explain why things were happening. So this is one of those films, you don't know anything going into it. That's the best way to experience it completely blind. But if you're one of these people who haven't seen it and you like that type of film, it might be right for you. And when you do get to the end of the film, that's where the real fun and mystery begins, in my opinion. I'm not going to give away any specifics in case you haven't seen it, but it's definitely a pretty divisive film, but one that will definitely be memorable one way or the other, no matter what you think of it. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a fucking blast with this movie. It's so batshit crazy, it goes for it. I love the risks this movie takes in the third act. In fact, that's mainly the reason I love it. Cobweb is by no means a perfect movie. There's definitely things I would change with the ending, but that doesn't mean I don't think the ending is a ton of fun. I think this is a movie that has basically everything I want in a horror movie. This is a movie that knows what it wants to be. It misses a shot or two, but it takes risks. It lets it all hang free. This is a director who had a vision and he really goes for it. And I respect the shit out of that. He doesn't care if he turns off a portion of his audience. He wants to stick to that vision. He's willing to go for it, take those risks. I'll never fault somebody for that. So if you're somebody looking for a flick with Halloween vibes, pumpkins all around, great acting, great tension, great scares and atmosphere, tons of twists, a very memorable ending that won't work for everybody, but I have a blast with it. If you've never seen or heard of it, go check out Cobweb. I recommend you buy it on Blu-ray. It's so much fun. So if you guys seen or heard of Cobweb, if you have, comment down below, or let me know another hidden gem I should maybe review this season. As always, if you haven't subscribed, join me down below, but that's all I got in this video. Peace!